success isn't always millions of dollars, millions of followers. The Lord might want you to impact this specific group of people or this person. Know that like whatever is going to happen is because he works out all things for the good of those who are called according to his purpose.
Hey guys, welcome to the Something New Show. I'm Mindi Linscombe, your host, and here we are learning how to live a life worth celebrating. And today I have a very special guest that actually lives in my hometown, and I'm so lucky to be neighbors with Justin Stuart. I want to say high five. Thanks for being here. We are about to have an amazing conversation about how he started his business and became so successful. At what age are you at now?
I'm 31.
31 years old, and you would not believe all the things he's doing. He's a very famous YouTuber, a movie producer, an author, a podcaster, but more importantly, he's a husband, and he's an awesome dad to 3 special kids. He's a son, a lot of things, a friend, a lot of roles you play. And if you are a family with a boy between the ages of 13 and 15, you know who Justin Stuart is.
Maybe.
Probably. If you live in the U.S., that is probably where you gained your claim to fame the most, from your YouTube channel called Jstu. But you have multiple YouTube channels. You have a movie coming out, I think next week, which I want to say thanks for fitting this in right before you release a movie. That's pretty crazy. And a book, lots of really cool things that you just have a lot of creativity, and I love that you're able to express it, because I imagine it wasn't so fun like it is today. I mean, there's still challenges today in entrepreneurship, which we can cover. But at the beginning of it all, how old were you when you're like, hey, what if we started by getting creative about life?
Well, first of all, thank you for the introduction. Very
Yes.
kind. YouTube, it's been a 13-year journey now. I've been making videos, but before then was making home movies with the camcorder with my friend and business partner, Andrew. So we've been friends for I lost track, probably 16 plus years, something like that. And so have always loved being in front of the camera, using the camera for something.
Yeah. And you guys, were you still in high school then when you said, hey, what if we threw our videos up on YouTube?
Yeah. YouTube was, I think, out for 2 or 3 years before we actually jumped on, but we were very early to jumping on uploading to YouTube because it was a very new thing. And so we were watching content and found some creators on there that we enjoyed watching, and they were prank YouTube channels. There weren't that many creators back then. And found
Can you tell us what prank channel you liked back in the day?
Jack Vale, he did all these pranks in the stores with this fake fart device. And Ed Bassmaster, he was known for his characters, so he'd always make up these characters and go out in public and confuse people. And so we enjoyed that stuff a lot.
Yeah, as a young teenage boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We were into that.
So were you at the beginning thinking, hey, it'd be cool to make this a job and an income one day? Or were you more thinking, this is a place to hold my videos in the air? Because I think, just to backtrack a little bit, I'm a little older than you. The way Facebook was described to me when it began was, this is a place to just house your photo albums so that you can just upload your pictures and have them somewhere saved online. And if you ever want to show your friends, you can show your friends. So I was just wondering, were you thinking, hey, I'm going to make these videos. I'll just put them on this YouTube place as a holder so I can, or were you actually hoping to gain an audience?
No, we created on YouTube not at all with the intention for it to turn into a business. It was just a place to upload our videos that we were making so we could show our friends and family. That was literally the only reason. I can't remember 13 years ago, how old was I, math. I wasn't thinking business at all.
18.
Yeah. So I was just getting through high school, thinking about college.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I didn't finish, but me and Andrew went to Colorado Film School. So wanted to be an actor. I studied acting. And Andrew studied writing and producing. And so
I didn't know that. Where is Colorado Film School?
It's up in Denver.
And you started, but it stopped.
Yeah. School, I wasn't very good at school. I didn't like I just wasn't a good student back then. I didn't really think about that stuff or prioritize it, I guess. And so, but I knew I wanted to be an actor and be have something to do with film. And so that's why I went. And I didn't like the community college aspect of it where you had to do the science, math stuff. I was just wanting to focus fully on film. And so after I learned what I learned and YouTube was taking off, I was just like, all right,
I'll just keep going. Yeah.
I'll just focus on YouTube.
And Andrew's also, like, he didn't finish and kept going with the YouTube?
Andrew finished.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, you're good. I'll keep going and we'll finish and keep doing the business.
And it worked out. Yeah.
And it wasn't really a business. It was just like creating content. And what were your videos about at the beginning?
Videos to start for a brief period were like skits. And then after that, because we were inspired from the prank channels, we created our own pranks, and we're doing that for years. Like, and that's what really blew up our channel at the very beginning was pranks.
Were you learning about the science of algorithms and posting metrics and all that? Or were you literally just like, well, this is a cool video. I'm going to put it up now. We just finished it. I'm going to put it up.
Yeah, even back then, I wasn't even necessarily thinking about that. It was just like, oh, this video got views. Great. Like, because analytics weren't even much of a thing back then. It was more just like whatever could get the most views and engagement was what worked. And so I remember, though, there was a viral video that I enjoyed watching, and we had this series called Falling, where we'd fall by people on purpose, but they would think it was an accident. And so that was a really successful series for us. And so anyways, I saw this video, and it was a compilation of this guy. He'd go through the drive-thru and order ice cream and grab it by the ice cream instead of the cone and like slam it on his head. And so he did that so many times and then created a compilation, and that compilation went viral. And so I watched that, and then I was like, what if we did that exact kind of flow, but with falling? So we created the compilation with falling, and lo and behold, it blew up. And before that, though, I guess I was trying to be an entrepreneur back then without really like thinking about it. I was getting this email list of all the news outlets. So like Huffington Post, MSNBC, like these writers, I'd find who it was in their email. And so when that video was done, I sent it to them, like all these people. And they loved it because they're like, oh, this is a great video. This is great content for our website. And so they posted it. And
wait, that's a huge tip. Like, people aren't thinking about that.
Yeah, I guess so. I was just
you just naturally thought of, I'm going to forward my content onto people that could share it.
Yeah, because I wanted it to go big. But it's like back then, I wasn't like reading books. I wasn't listening to business podcasts. I wasn't trying to.
There was no strategy.
Yeah, no strategy. I was just like, let's just get as many views as we can.
And was it just you and Andrew, or were there more guys helping you at that time?
Yeah, it was mainly me and Andrew. We had our friend and friends be a part of videos every now and then. But Andrew and I have always been like the core of our channels.
Got it. And you would be like the editor, the idea, the actor, the everything. It was just like
me and him would take turns editing, or we'd edit together. We'd finish a video, come home and edit. And back then, editing was so easy because we weren't doing anything crazy like what we're doing now. Back then, it was just like cut, like simple, like
on
no
an
music.
iPhone, like iPhone, or what were you?
We had a Zoom camcorder, and that was it. And
so what?
It's just this camcorder that could zoom really far.
Oh,
digitally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's all we used.
Okay, and then you'd have a little disk drive thing or memory card.
Memory card, yep.
Yep.
Throw it in, and then it'd take like 2-3 hours max to edit a prank. But the majority of the time was us driving around to schools and Wal-Marts
and were you working a job at that time?
At the beginning, I was working in the food industry. I was not a chef. I was a waiter at California Pizza Kitchen and a busser at Salsa Brava here in town.
Oh, okay. And you were, I'm pretty sure, married pretty young too, right?
Yeah.
When did you guys meet and get married in that journey? Were you still struggling entrepreneur when you got married?
Yeah. I got married 10 years in August to my high school sweetheart, Brittany. And she's been with me before this whole thing went down. So she's been able to see this journey unfold and the growth and the ups and downs. And yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Did she think it was obnoxious to believe you could make money on YouTube?
I'm not sure how she thought about it in that way. If she enjoyed watching it, but her dad was definitely curious about how I'm going to support his daughter when we got married, because YouTube again wasn't like
a thing.
wildly successful for us. And, you know, I was living in Denver and Brittany was living down here. So I was living with Andrew and we had another roommate. So we had very cheap rent. And that's, I think, how we were able to make what we did possible, because like we didn't have that much
living expenses.
Yeah.
I mean, I always think about like what our living expenses are now with 4 kids, 3 kids, and a production team, a studio, all this stuff, right? When it's like, when you started though, it's just like very minimal. Like your rent, I don't know, but 3 guys splitting a place is probably minimal. And so you can get by and be really scrappy.
Yeah.
So at what point did you see, I should say, some sort of revenue, even if it was small, for a YouTube channel? Like how many years in, and what would you get paid for? Was it a sponsored ad, or like for people out there, they're like, I want to start a YouTube channel and I would like to make it be a job maybe one day. What would you say were some of the things that took place before you got a paycheck for it?
Oh man. Consistency for sure. We were uploading every week. And, I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. I remember back then it was a lot easier to be a YouTuber than it is now, because a lot less people were on YouTube back then. And it was easier to start earning money on YouTube because they didn't have the requirements to start earning money like it is now. Like you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 watch hours just to start earning money. So
and that's a paycheck would come in the form of somebody wanting to put a paid ad, or like YouTube would match you up with a sponsored ad or something and you get a paycheck?
To earn money on YouTube, you just click a button. You turn on ads, and YouTube their whole system's automated. Like we can't control what ad is shown in a video.
That's really interesting to know, because you have like wholesome content like you guys. I mean, I'm thinking about you guys, Dude Perfect. I mean, all these really great wholesome YouTube channels. And I've often wondered, I'm like, this ad doesn't seem to match the branding that these guys and the values that these guys hold. So that makes so much more sense. Like they're matching your ad.
Yep. And so, but you can get sponsors to like brands to reach out and be like, hey, can you show my product in your YouTube videos?
And so you guys have made money that way?
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely not been it's been more of a thing like recently within the past few years. But back then it was very minimal. Like I remember one of our first brand deals was with ID Gum, and they paid us, I think, like through our network, $1,000. And back then we're like, whoa,
yeah,
this is crazy. But that was way different than how it's done now.
Okay. So yeah, what year was it that you saw like you were describing to me before we started? It's just like one thing will like bump, and it's like what happened overnight, right? So it's like that consistency piece for years. But how long before you saw your first like, oh my gosh, we just hit 1 million subscribers or whatever, or maybe not even 1 million. Maybe it should be less than that. But a jump. How far in were you?
That's hard to say, because I feel like I don't remember dates as much, more of just like moments. Because like we were talking, there are those like moments where it's like, okay, we're growing, and then boom, we do this one thing, and then so we've had a few of those like really mountain peaks, and Falling was the first one. So we created Falling, and that was that big jump that got us so many subscribers, and I can't remember how many, but it was just like, whoa. And so at that time when we were doing pranks, we created a second channel that was called Jstu Studios. So we had our main channel, which was called More Jstu. Or sorry, I'm actually getting it mixed up. Jstu Studios was our main channel, and we had a second channel called More Jstu. And on More Jstu, we would upload the behind the scenes and like extra clips from pranks. And so we were doing that for a while, and then we wanted to try daily vlogs on More Jstu while we were doing pranks. So we were doing that for a long time. And then some time passes, and on our vlog channel, we start doing these toilet paper forts. And that's one of the other mountains that really took our channel to the next level. Because like we were doing forts, and we hyped up this staying overnight in Wal-Mart video. And when we did that video, it just completely blew up our channel. That's still one of our most viewed videos. I think it has close to 30 million. And that's, again, that moment, like we doing this thing, and then one video just It wasn't out of the blue video though, because like
Yeah.
I said, we were doing forts, kind of leading up to this moment of like this video is the one.
So how often do you still put out like a video? Is it still weekly? And are you still doing the daily vlogs? Like, how are you doing both?
Yeah, so we've changed quite a bit because like I said, our main channel to start was Jstu Studios, and we had more Jstu. So we changed more Jstu to just be Jstu because that channel passed our main channel, Jstu Studios.
So now Jstu is number one.
Yes,
And how often do you post on that one?
once a week.
Once a week. And you're filming probably a lot to get these. I mean, once a week videos still a lot.
Yeah.
And then you have Jstu Studios, which is more of what kind of content?
So Jstu and Jstu Studios are very similar content, and we post once a week on both of those channels. I'd say Jstu, which is our main channel, is more of the over-the-top, bigger ideas. So like, for example, staying overnight in a dangerous lighthouse in Iceland type content. Not always, but those are like the big content. And then Jstu Studios is more like fun comparing an expensive e-bike versus a cheap e-bike.
Okay.
So we upload once a week. We're filming basically every day.
People are just like hanging out with you in all areas.
Yeah.
Like just like hanging out. I like it. Okay. And then the other two channels?
Yeah, we have Laugh Daily Podcasts. So we upload once a week on there. And then we have Jstu Music, which we're uploading. We're trying to be more consistent with that one.
Do you have now a team that sits down and like has like an idea session of like, hey, what would be a bunch of great ideas? And you put everything, I'm just imagining you guys put it all on the board and then you start to like filter down, or is it just you and Andrew still coming up with the ideas?
It is mainly still me and Andrew. We have people on our team who kind of bounce ideas back and forth with us, but everything is Andrew and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you do have a bigger team though. What kind of members do you have on your team now in your company?
Yeah, I mean, we're still growing. We're hiring new people right now. So total, we're going to have 14 people on our team. So we're going to have 5 editors, 4 people on construction. We have Isaac, who's in the videos with us. Drew, he works on camera, and then 2 people on production type
And
stuff.
I just love watching the evolution of you going from creator, which you still are, but now to like CEO in a lot of ways. And I don't know what your official title is, but I'm just thinking like some of our side conversations have been like, wow, it's like crazy because I'm going from having an idea to now, do I manage people? Do I hire someone else to manage people? Like we have a whole budget. You're a full blown entrepreneur and running a big company, and it's nobody ever teaches you those things when you become a business owner. You just kind of grow into it, right? So what would you say is some of the biggest, like, oh, I didn't even realize it was going to be like fill in the blank. That could be good or bad. Like it was harder than I thought, or easier, or this was more fun, or, oh, this was harder. This was a burden, or whatever. Just going from, because you still create content, but man, you have a big team and a lot happening because you sell merch, you have live events, you are about to do a movie launch, a premiere. I'm just thinking like you have a lot of balls in the air and you manage people. And you're 31 years old. I mean, I'm so inspired. So I'm thinking, what surprised you as you went along the way?
Just how important it was and is to have other people working alongside you and helping you. We wouldn't be where we are today without the help that we have. And so that's when I feel like our channel has really taken on new life and grown to the next level is the team we've built, because obviously we can't juggle all the things. I can't edit at the level of our editing team. Like I only edited simple pranks where it's just cutting. Like I wasn't adding in crazy effects. Like if you watch our videos now, they're night and day, like different from back then.
Do you still have your originals?
Yeah.
On there so people can see?
Yeah, you can go back and see. Just asking for help in the areas that you're not good at and trying to wear all the hats. Like I don't want to wear all the hats. I want people who know how to be experts in their field, and I could be good at what I'm good at, which is being on camera and making YouTube videos. I'm not trying to be the best editor or the best construction person.
Or CFO or HR.
All that. Yeah, I'm like, I can't do all that.
So what did you guys do when you both realized there was a moment where you and Andrew probably looked and said, we need more help?
It was a slow thing. And like, even still to this day, still like learning a lot and don't do the best at a lot. But like our first hire was Rick, who's still on the team today. And he was our editor. We were like, man, we could use some help with editing. And so we brought him on. And then that's leveled it up. And then hiring more editors and people to help us build, because like we can build, but it takes us forever. We don't know what we're doing. And
so first hires were editors.
Yeah.
And then builders for like your video background, like the props.
Sets.
Yeah, sets and stuff. And then, just for, I'm thinking about young entrepreneurs, like how did you figure out, okay, do we need HR? Do we need a CFO? Like, are we going to do those things as the owners? What are we going to do? Like, how did you decide when to bring in some of that professional help?
It's going to be a good day. Okay? 3, 2, 1. It's showtime!
It's no secret by now that Something New is a special place where we believe life is worth celebrating. We come here every day to make sure people feel loved, welcomed, and brought into an experience of a lifetime. You'll see friendly faces, gorgeous gowns, a well-lit showroom to highlight everyone's natural beauty, and strangers becoming friends. It's a wonderful thing to shop somewhere that listens to you and makes you feel like you're the only one that matters in this most beautiful moment of your life. We'd love to have you and your friends find your dress and become a part of the Something New family.
yeah.
Or maybe you do you outsource some things like, and I mean, I have friends that are fractional CFOs for other companies. And so they don't necessarily work full time in a company, but like just think of the person listening that's like, man, how do I know when to hire some of that stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because it's like, I don't think we even knew until people brought it to like our attention sort of thing. Like I remember back a while ago doing our taxes through H&R Block, and that was just an absolute nightmare because I brought in like bags of receipts. I had no idea what I was doing. And then finding new people to help us with taxes, like, CPAs and accountants, like where they handle all that stuff. Because taxes is like not something I'm savvy at all, good at all. So having those people come in and be like, hey, you thought about this? You thought about doing this? And then hiring Samuel, who's also been on our team for a long time, which is Andrew's brother-in-law. He's really good at construction, but he also previously worked for a different company helping out with the back-end stuff like what you're mentioning. And so he's bringing all this stuff to our attention, being like, hey, well, what about this? Like, we need a handbook. We need this. And so those moments have been critical for us as we've grown, to people to call out, not in a negative way, being like, bring it to our attention.
Yeah, like, have you thought about?
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that keeps you guys kind of really in your sweet spot as long as you can hire people you can trust and do the thing better than you can do.
People you can trust is very important, for sure.
Yeah.
So learn that. Like, we've hired a lot of whoever we've hired, have to like put some trust in them to. Do
you have like a trust test or anything? Like, how do you, if you don't know them from anywhere, how do you know you can trust them?
You don't. You have to. We give each person like a 3-month type. I don't know what the word is, like
trial or
like let's see how you do in this role, and then go from there. And they continue to grow them and train them up. But it's built. Trust is built over time, and you can't really fully trust anybody from the start unless you know them. But you have to work through that.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, do you guys have I imagine you're traveling, doing one video, you have team in an office or maybe working from home. Do you have a regular time in which you guys get together as a team, like once a month or anything, or a team meeting or anything like that?
Yeah, I think every week on Fridays, we try to prioritize like our team meetings where we get together. We have a guy on our team who he lives in a different state, but he's our like analytics guy, and he'll jump on a Zoom with us and do like these presentations of like, hey, here's the last videos, here's how they've done, here's what worked, and all those details that in YouTube, the back end stuff that maybe a lot of people don't know about. We go really deep dive into them. And so we get together and then we have lunch together. And those are the days where we're together as a
That's
team.
awesome. And everybody is local except for that guy?
Yep.
Cool.
That's been very important too.
For culture.
Yeah, exactly.
I know remote is so hard. I know the world we live in is very remote centric, but it does change it when you can be in person.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Way clearer communication, like instant communication, like visual learners who can show you and walk through things. Yeah.
So talk about your new construction project.
Oh, yes. We were building a new warehouse. We currently have had this warehouse, which one we're in right now. It's just this warehouse on this property that has a house on 5 acres. We built that warehouse and we've outgrown it. And our team obviously is growing. So we are building an even bigger warehouse that has a bigger open space and more rooms for our team. Because if you saw our place right now, you'd be like, where is everybody going? There's not enough room for everybody. So,
Well, that's so awesome. Like, that's exciting. When are you going to be moved in?
hopefully beginning of next year. Yeah.
Okay.
That's been like, that's our biggest project
Right now.
to date. Yeah. Like, cause it's just such a big building and like business loans, construction loans. It's a lot. So, but we're excited.
You're
'cause
figuring it out.
It's going to level up everything.
Yes, it will. Because you'll record inside, right?
Yeah. There's just so much. Like we can build more movie sets, more YouTube sets. Like it's on 10 acres. There's just much more room to grow. And I feel like changing it up is important. Like we've changed it up
Keep
over
your
the
creative.
years. And that's what's like super important over the years. And for people to keep in mind is like, don't like stay the same, expect growth, expect change because it's a part of life. So it's like, be willing to go with the flow and look for opportunities to change it up. Don't do the same thing all the time. Like figure out how to innovate because that's important. If we didn't innovate, if we didn't hire, if we didn't have those moments where we changed content, like if we were still doing pranks to this day, I wouldn't be probably sitting here talking to you. So because even unintentionally, but moving forward, if you're intentionally thinking about, okay, how can we innovate? Because if you're not changing, you're just staying the same. And like if you want to grow, then you need to be able to do those change. And with growth requires risk. And so you got to be okay with risk because risk is important. Like some people can look at risk as like it's failure, but risk can produce failure, but failure helps you learn and grow. It's what you do with those things that like really sets you apart from other entrepreneurs, other creatives is how do you respond to
Yeah,
risk?
because like to your point, you switched from pranks to what would you say the switch was to after prank?
Daily vlogs.
Like just interesting things you're doing, activities and
Yeah.
building or joking or you're being silly, but like
Yeah.
fun as friends.
Yep. And then challenges is what it's kind of grown to now. And then, yeah, and that's what's interesting about YouTube is it's this constant game of like trying to figure it out. Like you can think one video, you could plan it out and think like this is going to be viral.
The thing.
And then it like doesn't perform. And you're like, okay, why? And then you have to go into analytics and then come back. But it's like that for every video. Like you can't bank on this video working forever. Like if we do forts now, it might do good, but like we did a fort recently and then YouTube demonetized it. Because YouTube is not about forts because you're like breaking rules in a store. And so we're like, oh, well, can't do forts anymore. Not that we want to do them. It was great. It was the nail in the coffin being like, all right, so.
We're not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to hear maybe just like what is one of the stupidest things you've done in business that you're like, we created this video, we thought it was going to be awesome. We spent a lot of money and then it flopped. Or just something where you're like, I am embarrassed to tell you this, but to your point, failure, you learn from it. You're like, we learned a lot from that. And maybe it wasn't a video that you created. Maybe it was just anything that you really were like, man, that was a mess up. Why did we do that? But we learned and we won't do that again.
Okay. I can think of like maybe 2 or 3 simple examples. Like one being the first brand deal we did with ID Gum. We were doing pranks back then and they were asking a lot of us, the brand. They're being like, we want this type of reaction because they want their gum to look good. So like, we want people to be positive about the gum. That we want them to say this. And we're like, that's just not how pranks work, right? Like, you can't control how people respond. And who's going to, if I came up to you and just gave you a gum, would you just be like, oh, this ID gum is so good. I love it. I'm going to buy it. Like, you're not gonna do
I'm
that.
not going to say that.
So
I'm just,
yeah, exactly. So the whole video we staged, and it got half dislikes. Like, on the dislike bar, when YouTube had a dislike bar, it was like half, and it was going to break, like, be more dislikes.
so they did more damage to their
Yeah,
reputation.
and I think we just we took the video down, and like so that was.
Do you feel like with the brand deals or things do you feel like you've gotten smarter on how to say, hey, we'll represent your brand, but give us the creative liberty to like how to make someone else like it?
Yes. Moments like that, and throughout the years of working with brands, definitely telling them, like, we need creative control. You have to trust us. Like, if you're wanting us to promote your brand and you want it to do well, then we know how to do it. So give us the most creative control you can. Because the times where brands are very like nitpicky is when it just does not perform. It flops. Like, we did a video with Lego, and the whole video we were saying Legos, and they're like, you can't say Legos, it's Lego. So we had to cut every S off Lego, and the whole video, it was just cringe. And so back then, again, that was early, where we were just trying to figure things out. And like, so we've learned, because of these like failures in brand deals, to how to do them in a way that like keeps the person watching the video without like them wanting to skip ahead or click away. Because that's like the worst thing to do on YouTube, is like have an audience click away.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. So today, 2024, knowing all that you know about YouTube, being one of the biggest experts in the YouTube industry, and in my opinion, because how many subscribers do you have?
We have 8 million on Jstu.
Okay. And then combined all your channels.
10 million.
Okay. So, I mean, you're doing something right. Okay. Let's put it that way. Would you do it again today with all the updates to YouTube? Would you start a YouTube channel today? If somebody's listening, like, I think I want to start a YouTube channel, would you start one today? Yes or no? I know that's a hard question because you have so much fun with it. But then my other question is, what advice would you give to someone if they're just starting today?
Would I start today, and what advice would I give? I think that depends on the person. Like, for me, yes, I would start a YouTube channel today, because God has gifted me and given me a passion for that. And so I'm going to pursue that because I naturally enjoy it. But to somebody out there who just wants to be a YouTuber just because they want to, they want fame, they want money, then no, don't create a YouTube channel. You should lean into the unique abilities that God has given you and figure out, does that make sense with YouTube, or is that something else? Like, what are your motives for wanting to create videos? Because like, we've been doing it for 13 years. And if I just wanted to create YouTube videos just for fame or money, then like, it's just,
there's faster ways to get there.
That, and it's just like, what's the point? Like,
yeah.
Do what you love and do what you're passionate about. And like, I mean, trust God. Like, and that's why I point back to like the start of our YouTube. I wasn't doing it for any of those things. I wanted to do it because I naturally enjoyed it and did it as a kid. And it's turned into something. And thankfully, I've had faith all my life to kind of help me navigate this road. And so being able to trust the one who created me and created you. So it's like, I think your identity is very important when it comes to anything that you do.
Any career path. Yeah. Well, and don't you feel like whenever someone is doing something they love, that usually success follows?
Yes. And sometimes in a different way than you might think. Like,
it might not be monetary. Yeah.
Right. It might not, because like God has a different plan for everybody, and success isn't always millions of dollars, millions of followers. The Lord might want you to impact this specific group of people or this person or whatever it may be. So you never know. It's just trusting in the will and the sovereignty of God. Because God is in control of everything, you can't step much outside of his will unless you're like blatantly like, sinning and stuff, but it's like, he's in control of everything. So trust him. And know that like whatever is going to happen is because he works out all things for the good of those who are called according to his purpose to glorify him. It's all pointing back to him. It's not for our gain or anything else. It's all to glorify Jesus.
I love it. And when you think about, okay, anyone sitting there, it might not be a YouTube channel that they're thinking about starting, but it's something that they've thought about starting and they're stirred up about it. And may not know everything and know all the answers. I didn't know anything about bridal when I opened my first store, but it's just so similar to your story. It's kind of like, but I knew I'd figure it out because I just loved it so much. So I'm thinking like the person sitting there, if you can hear us just talking, just be encouraged that if you're like really passionate about something and you want to add value to the world with that gift, bring your gift.
I like to add value to the world. I think that's important. It's like, what's your like mission statement behind what you do? Why is it that you do what you do? Is it just cause, or do you have like for me and for our YouTube channel, our whole like mottos comes from, it's laugh daily. It's on our shirt. So it's comes from Proverbs 17:22. A joyful heart is like medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So like our whole goal is to be able to provide clean humor to the world and ultimately point back to Jesus because of that. What would you say your driving force is? Like, why do you do what you do with wedding gowns?
I think for us, we believe that everyone's worthy of celebration because they were created in God's image. And so that's where our whole mission statement came from, is like, life is worth celebrating. The people we're serving are worthy of a celebration because just their life has meaning and purpose. And so it just so happens that we get to celebrate them on their happiest day, look to the state, probably. I mean, there will be happier days when you have your child and all those things, right? But to this moment, we want to make sure that they feel loved, valued, and celebrated.
I love that. And I've come to love like weddings more because of my wife. Like she's had a love for wedding gowns and just the weddings in general, like the bride of Christ. She's really drawn towards that, and it's like has created a lot of art because of that. And so the fact that like you're doing that because everyone's worthy of being celebrated, I think that's so cool.
Yeah. And I mean, she does an excellent job too. I love her work, and maybe we should tell people about her Instagram handle. What's her Instagram handle?
It's Brittany Stewart.
Okay.
So Brittany Stewart, and she's an artist and
beautiful work. Man. She's doing some cool stuff in her new magazine. Yeah. I mean, you guys are just really putting a lot of beautiful things in the world, from laughter to movies. I mean, what's this new movie coming out about?
It's called I Am Spaceman. It's a sci-fi comedy adventure. Like, it's a bunch of things. So, like I said, we went to film school, and so like that's been like my biggest passion, is just making movies. And so we've done like 3 short films in the past, and this was like our big, like, we want to like make a movie. And we promised our subscribers, hey, once we hit 8 million subscribers, we're making a movie. And so we committed and did it, and it's done.
And when does it come out?
We're doing our movie theater tour first, and then we're going to upload the movie for free on our YouTube channel. The plan is like August.
Okay. When's the first time somebody's going to see it in a theater? What's the date? That
would be the 24th, and that's going to be in Denver at the Regal Movie Theater. But we're doing a friends and family premiere before that, though.
Oh.
Which you guys are invited to, but I don't know. You might be busy.
Okay, we'll have to talk off camera when the date and time is, because I think that some of my 12 to 15-year-old boys in the studio right now might want to go to that.
I'm so excited about it. We've worked so hard on it, and I think it's going to be fun for people to see us in like a different light than like these YouTube guys. Most people can look at YouTubers as kind of like, they're YouTubers. But when they see our movie, I hope that they'll be like, whoa, that was like crazy. I can't believe it came from you guys. And I just love to create. So it's like, let's go. Whether it succeeds or not, like, we created something awesome that I'm proud of. And that's like, at the end of the day, why I enjoy creating. Not just YouTube videos, no matter what I do. It's like, just create. Like, have fun. Like, we only have one life. Yeah, this is like my dream to like, I love interviewing people. I'm so curious about their stories. So it's like, I'm not getting paid for this. I just really enjoy it. And that's the best. It's just
So
getting
fun.
to connect with other people who have
Yes.
different stories and perspectives.
Yes.
And like we were kind of briefly mentioning, like it's not all like sunshine and rainbows. No matter what you do, you probably have really bad days. I have really bad days. I had a point in my career where I wanted to quit YouTube because I felt like I wasn't doing it enough. I feel like I was living kind of legalistically, and I was like, we're just making these goofy toilet paper board videos. Like, who cares? Like, I'm not talking about Jesus in our videos. Like, I'm not doing enough. And I was like ready to literally like give up and go try and be a pastor of sorts. I don't know what I was doing. But I think that moment was a really impactful moment for me, and I'm thankful to the Lord for kind of sustaining me through that and showing me, you know, a lot through that, you know, it's not always just about like what a performance based lifestyle or faith life. Like it's about like doing good. You always have to do to be good in God's eyes. Right. It's like, it's not about that. And the analogy I like to use is like, I can show you and anybody who's around me that I love my wife based on how I act and present myself. Not all. I don't have to like tell you, oh, Mindi, guess what? I love my wife, and here's what I do. I do this, and this. I don't need to do that. I can show you. And same with God. Like there's a time where, yes, I could shout, and I will shout him from the rooftops. But I can show you that I love the Lord based on how I act and present myself and live my day-to-day life and how I think and do things. So, yeah, all that to say is like life's got the ups and downs, but it's like what do you have that's going to keep you on solid rock? How have you built your house? Sand, rock, you know, and the Lord for me has been the solid thing I could fall back on when
Things are hard. Yeah. Well, I mean, and we know very much from the world that we can easily succumb to anxiety, and that's like a very real emotion. And I mean, I'm just thinking through how many times and seasons in my life, if I did not have God, that would have overtaken me. The amount of risk that you can take as an entrepreneur can sometimes feel like you're drowning, like it's going to all swallow you up because there's like, oh my gosh, it's going faster than I can handle. And you have other people. I feel responsible for other people because I have people on my team, and I just always want to make sure they're good. And then my kids, that they're good. And it's like, there's a lot of pressure. But when you do, I feel like have that relationship with God that says, hey, I am not strong enough to do it all my own. Like I absolutely need you to help me be carried through this. Then I don't feel as anxious, or I don't feel as worried, or like overcome with emotion. And so I totally hear what you're saying, because I'm like, there's purpose in what I do. There's responsibility and duty in what I've committed to steward what I've been entrusted with honor and all of that. But it is still a lot.
Right.
It's a lot to carry. And so while I take it very seriously, there are many days that I'm like, if I did not have God, I would not be able to carry this.
Yep.
It's a big load.
I don't know how people live without Jesus, without that faith. And the testing of our faith is super important. So it's like those dips in life are just a part of the journey and the sanctification. And so I think it's like just important to like evaluate your own faith and like, what is authentic faith? I think about like, you know, we both having children, like we want our kids to trust us fully. Like, let's say there's a river in front of me, but I need to get to the other side, and I need to carry my kids to the other side because whatever, for this analogies, to my children, they'd be like, I don't want to go across that river. It's like freezing cold. I'm going to get drenched. We could get swept away. But if they trust me that I will get you to the other side, they'll come away on the other side knowing like, wow, I should have trusted him all along. Why was I doubting him? And I think about like the Lord. We can doubt the Lord, but he has plans. He's not sitting back just being like, all right, let's let him figure it out. And he is active. He's a God who's in control, and he loves us, and he has plans. But sometimes, like crossing the river, cold, we don't like it. We don't like his plans, and we try and figure it out, and we try and get away from the situations in life that are difficult. But what if that difficulty is the very thing that God put in front of you because he wants to do something, he wants to strengthen your faith, whatever it may be. So we look at these negative circumstances like, I got to get away from this. But just go through it in faith is the most important thing, trusting the Lord.
Yeah, that's so good. And I want, before we wrap up, we are going to hear about your favorite drink here in a second. You have a special project that it's like a baby project, but I was really interested in it. And it's the Father-Son podcast that you're doing with your dad. Tell us about why you started that.
Well, my dad's inspired me in a lot of ways, and he's had this group of guys that he's been friends with for 30 years, and they've walked through everything together. It's the same guys. And so I really just wanted to create something that would not only get me and him together to talk more and talk about important things that other people could get value from, but also to just better myself. Like having those conversations will ultimately help me become a better father, a better husband, a better friend, a better leader. And so I think that was the goal in starting the podcast with him. Although we haven't been as consistent because I'm doing a lot of things.
But you have some episodes out.
Yeah, we got some episodes out. They've been great.
And I think that's cool for you to involve your dad. And clearly he's doing something right. And I think that's great to invite other people that might not have a great relationship with their dad, or they're an adult man, father, husband. They're like, I'd love to hear another, like if my dad was active, what I'd want to ask him. So I'm sure you're talking about all those things, which is really cool. How can they find that podcast?
That's just Soul Mine. So SOUL, Soul Mine Podcast on YouTube or Spotify.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then how can people find you? Just Justin, if they want to follow Justin, where would they find you?
I mean, of course, watch our YouTube videos, Jstu, JSTU. But I'm on Instagram. I don't use any other platform, so it's Justin Stuart.
Okay.
On Instagram,
just like Brittany.
That's
it's
right.
Brittany and it's Justin Stuart. I like it.
That's right.
I like it. Okay, so let's bring out your favorite drink. What's your favorite drink, Justin?
That's hard. When you asked me that, I was like, I like a lot of, I love drinks. I love coffee. But lately it's been tropical punch Olipop. Like every time I'll get this one.
Is it like Hawaiian punch?
Yeah, but it's like this one, it's still soda, but it supports digestive health. It's got prebiotics and all this good stuff. 3 grams of sugar. When I always like looking at the ingredients of things, and this one has it doesn't have a bunch of junk in it compared to other stuff.
Yeah, you seem like a pretty healthy guy. I see your Whoop. You got a Whoop on there.
That's right.
What are you measuring? Your HRV or what?
I mean, all the things. I was curious looking at my stress levels, how I sleep. So I'm trying to just improve and have the best lifestyle I can.
That's awesome.
Doing, yeah.
And are you going on any trips anytime soon before we cheers this out?
Yes.
Can you give my listeners maybe a little baby secret about like where you're, like you just talked about Iceland, but is there a continent or a country or a place that you could maybe sneak in here where we could be paying attention to an upcoming video from Jstu?
Yeah. Well, for one, we're doing our movie tour, so we're going to 5 different cities to watch our movie theater.
Do you want to say what those are? Denver?
We got Denver, Ohio, California, New York, Dallas, and then Colorado's the one we're doing here.
Are you, and viewers are going to meet you there and watch with you live?
We're almost sold out.
I knew it.
I know.
And then are people like, oh, I'm going to pay for a VIP ticket to meet Justin
and you inspired
Andrew.
the whole epic VIP experience, and we only have, at least last I checked, 2 left out of 40.
Amazing.
So
people are excited to hang out with you.
So that's where I'm traveling. But a video we're doing, I'll totally tell you, is we're doing a video shoot with, I think it's in September, with the Navy, and they're going to let Andrew fly on one of the Blue Angels, like one of those I forgot what it's called, those jets that do the aerobatics and they get like inches away from each other.
Yes.
So we're gonna do a whole video about that.
But you don't get to go up in the air?
Andrew, no, I'll be on the ground. I'm totally fine with him doing it. I'm a little nervous about that. So Andrew do that, and hopefully after that we'll do an overnight on the aircraft carrier with the Navy.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. We've been planning that forever. It's kind of they just messaged us about the Blue Angels because they're like, we're sorry this is taking so long. So I'm hoping that we do that and then we can do aircraft carrier. But we try not to travel too often.
Yeah, do as much as you can locally.
Yeah.
Which is really, really great. We love seeing you in our community and bumping into you in the coffee shops and stuff like that because you're just so fun, and all you guys are so fun. I loved meeting Andrew the other day too, so it was cool. But we'll be watching for those videos, and I want to come to one of your Friday staff meetings now. I want to
should.
I want to come and like watch it. I like want to
analytics.
watch it all happen. And Liz, wouldn't that be so fun to go to a Friday staff meeting and just like watch how does this like mega mastermind come together? Because it's just a team. It is. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more that it takes a team. That was such a good like observation of how we get to here. We have a good team.
That's right.
So I feel bad sometimes because I'm like, guys, I know it looks like I'm doing it, but it's actually some amazing group of people that made this happen.
It's for sure that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's cheers it out. Cheers. I'm going to try the tropical punch real quick.
I'm curious your thoughts on this. And I'm curious what your favorite drink is.
Wow, that's very sweet. Yeah, it's okay.
Yep. You're not a sweet beverage?
Well, because, I mean, it's good. Actually, I'd probably really like it on ice. I probably would. It kind of is like a mocktail.
It's like that summer drink.
Yeah.
You know, tropical punch is just like...
Yeah. I'm more of a Perrier. Just like a...
What's that?
Like a good sparkling water.
Oh, really? Just plain sparkling water?
Yeah. Maybe a slice of lime in it. But a Perrier is like a bougie sparkling water.
I like the Spindrift. It has that actual like fruit in it.
Yeah,
it's
that's Jordan's favorite.
Yeah, Spindrift.
You and Jordan.
But I love coffee. You like coffee?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Yep.
No, I almost picked a latte.
Okay.
When you asked me that. So.
Well, we do have a really good coffee shop right around the corner. We could have done. But we'll do that next time.
Perfect.
Okay, that sounds really good. Okay, you guys, this was so fun talking to Justin. I hope you guys follow him. Definitely go to his YouTube channel, check out this movie coming out and all of the amazing fun content. If you have kids, especially as a mom, I'm going to tell you, I love sitting down with my kids and watching them over anything cartoon. I'm like, anything we watch has to be real people. That's my only requirement. I have to see real people on my TV screen. And so I love that they choose to watch you guys. You guys are such a good influence on my boys. So I want to say thank you for that. Very wholesome content and fun. Like I actually do laugh. It's funny. So thank you. That's the goal. You're reaching me too. So thank you for that. But yeah, like this episode, subscribe and tell your friends about it. We'd love to have you keep joining us as we learn how to live a life worth celebrating. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the show, rate, review, and share with a friend. Also, follow The Something New Show on Instagram and Facebook. If you want a fuller experience, watch the show on YouTube to help you create a life worth celebrating.